What's going on, guys? As you can see from the thumbnail, today I kind of want to talk a little bit about a problem that I have with the carnivore diet. Going to kind of start things off right from the beginning. By the time that I discovered the carnivore diet myself, I'd actually already been doing bodybuilding shows, so I was already at the ideal physique that I wanted, but I was really intrigued by a lot of different factors from the carnivore diet. I tried it myself, and at the beginning, there was a lot that I liked about it. One of the big things I really liked about the carnivore diet when I first tried it was that I'm able to reduce a lot of my calories throughout the day and then front load them with a lot of the foods that I already liked. Things like bacon and steaks and sausages. When I heard about these things, I'm like, well, these are foods I already like. If I could get really lean and stay lean eating these, that'd be great. So just like everything else I do in life, I gave it a try. I did carnivore relatively 5 or 6 months. There were things I liked about it, but then there's things that I don't like about it. And unfortunately, a lot of the things I don't like about the carnivore diet, it doesn't actually have to do anything with the diet itself, but it has everything to do with the culture around it. And by culture, I quite literally mean that the carnivore diet seems to have become a cult. So what I mean by that is I've always been someone that thinks however you can lose weight is the best way to do it. If you're someone that does keto, awesome. Keto's working for you, keep doing it. If you're someone that does it through volume eating or high fiber diets, great. Keep doing that. If it's working for you, I'm happy. I don't even mind if someone's vegetarian or vegan. It doesn't bother me one bit. But what does bother me is when people make their diets like their personality, or they really try to impose a certain lifestyle on other people and then shame them when things don't work out. Now, when it comes to carnivore in particular, there's really two types of people that get on it in the first place. The first group of people is coming from what I would call like an elimination diet. Let's say you've got some really bad digestion problems, and for whatever reason, you don't know what's going on. You just know that after eating certain foods, which you don't even know what they are, you feel absolutely terrible for days at a time. Actually, my own brother struggled with this. The carnivore diet can be an elimination diet, meaning you remove a lot of variables. You get on something that's very plain, like, for example, eating nothing but steaks or ground beef, like 24/7. That's literally your diet. Once your gut is fixed, then you slowly introduce foods, and as long as those foods don't upset you, it's fair game. That's one element of carnivore that maybe represents like less than 5 to 10% of the people that actually do it. The other 90% of people on the carnivore diet are people that just want to lose weight. They don't necessarily care about the elimination diet part of it or the gut health part of it or any of that stuff. They're just overweight people that want to lose weight. Here's where the problem comes in. I'm doing this channel. I go on Reddit to see what people are talking about, see if I can help people out. I see it time and time again on these carnivore subreddits. People are asking questions. Hey, it's late at night. I keep ending up binging on chips or cookies. I keep breaking my diet. I don't know what to do. I need help. I go on there and I offer very reasonable advice to people. Have some fruit late at night, frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries. These things are going to help curb your cravings. They're low calorie, so you're going to continue losing weight while having something that adds a little bit of variety to your life. It makes sticking to a diet so much easier. Next thing you know, I'm banned from the subreddit. Now, if you actually cared about somebody and having them lose weight, why would you ban good advice? These are people that are already not sticking to the diet. You think shaming them on a forum is going to help them out? No, of course not. They're just going to eventually quit. And this is where that cult mentality comes from. And it's something that has made me kind of soured on carnivore altogether. It's like, you're not going to be some shaman that lives out in the woods. You only eat deer meat. You're barefoot all the time with your toes in the dirt. It's just not realistic for 99.9% of the population. And that's being generous. Most people live in a city. Most people are just everyday office goers or 9-to-5ers that just want to lose some weight. So why are we telling people that a couple of strawberries at night or a little bit of watermelon here and there is going to kill them? When it comes to weight loss, the most important factor is and always will be calories in and calories out. What makes carnivore work in the first place is that by eliminating carbohydrates, you basically free up 1/3 of your daily intake of macronutrients to then be allocated towards proteins and fats. And because proteins and fats are so satiating, you really don't end up overeating almost ever. That's where the weight loss comes in. And I actually do think it's good for that. Where I think it's not good is when people develop this all or nothing mentality where they're going on the forum saying I'm day 47 on carnivore and all I can think about are potato chips. To me, that's indicative of a much bigger problem. And you're not going to solve that by literally pigeonholing yourself into a diet that you probably don't even enjoy doing that much. That's where I try to help people out. I say, hey, here's little things that you can do to make your diet sustainable, make your lifestyle better, something that you can do for quite literally the rest of your life. What I would like to do is develop forever diets for people so that it can, one, lose the weight, and then be on something they can stick to forever. I'm never going to tell people they have to be all in on something and they have to count how many days they've been on it. This whole thing is just breeding like a cult mentality that it kind of makes me uncomfortable. It kind of creeps me out in a way. I've never really encountered long-term carnivore people, and I'm not trying to be offensive here or hurt any feelings, but I've never encountered someone who's like a lifestyle carnivore person who's pleasant to be around. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but if your whole diet revolves around you complaining about like 90% of the food groups, like, you know, potatoes and strawberries and so forth, I just don't really like being around you. And that's unfortunate because I do think there's actually a lot of good things going on with the diet, and there's a lot of things that you can benefit from, but you don't need to make it your whole identity, and you don't have to be so strict with all of the foods that you eat. I'm not really a fan of cutting out 100% of carbohydrates. I do think that in certain cases, like if you're trying to really lose weight for something like a bodybuilding show, or maybe you're trying to join the military and you've got to make a certain weight just to get in through selection, I can see where doing like a very strict ketogenic diet where your carbohydrates are zero, I can see that having some benefit for some people. But I'm not going to go and say that it's like a lifestyle or something that you really ought to be doing without some sort of purpose for it. Because look, let's face it, it's too difficult to stick to something like that. You might be able to do it for a couple weeks at a time, but you're not going to do it forever. And a lot of the times, once you get off it, you're going to relapse. It's what I like to call the rubber band effect. The harder you go, the harder you're going to snap back. So I really do think if you're just trying to find long-term success, you've got to do what works best for you, and you do have to experiment with a lot of different things. Personally, I'm a big fan of the low-carb keto diet where you eat mostly meats, but then you have a little bit of supplementary fruits, and then definitely something like potatoes, if you exercise a lot, are going to be super helpful for, you know, helping you stay in shape and lean year-round. But if that's not working for you, I'm not going to get offended. I just want you guys to succeed. However you do it is fine. If you're a vegetarian and it's working for you, don't let me talk you out of it. Personally, I don't think vegetarian works for my lifestyle, but I'm not going to tell other people that they can't do it, especially if it's been working for them. And that's where I really kind of draw the line and delineate between diets and culture. I do think the standard American diet is all around really not good for society. I do think it's a great thing when people get off it and start doing different things, but it doesn't mean that we all have to be doing the same thing. And what I really want to hammer home on this is that if the vegetarian diet can work and the carnivore diet can work, what are the common themes going on here that makes all of that possible? I'll tell you, you're removing the poison from your diet. So really, once the poison's removed, everything else seems to kind of just fall into place. You know, whether you're a big fish eater or you're a beef eater, or maybe you're on that rice and pea diet, the common thing is that the seed oils, the processed sugars like high fructose corn syrup, the food coloring dyes, all those extra preservatives like the sodium nitrate and nitrite and potassium acidiflume, all of those things are absent from your diet. And then what do you know? A ton of weight loss occurs. It happens across the board. So I'm not really diet specific. Whatever works for you makes me happy. And I really think that people that are on this cult mentality, whether it's the vegan diet or the carnivore diet, I don't think those are the people that you should be listening to. And I think it's very ironic that the two extremes have almost identical behavior. I mean, if you took a vegan and you took a carnivore person and you put them in the same room and had them have the same conversation with you, it'd almost sound like you're having the identical conversation, except one guy is telling you that you have to eat meat forever or else you're going to get oxalates in your blood or whatever. And then the other person's telling you that your teeth were designed for vegetables and not meat. It's like, hold on. Both of these people are the same type of crazy. So why should you listen to either of them? The answer is always usually somewhere in the middle. Your teeth are designed for vegetables, but they're also designed for meat too. We're omnivores. We can literally eat everything, and you should eat everything. There's going to be micronutrients that is in one food that's not in the other. If you're on the carnivore diet, you're going to find eventually that you've got no vitamin C coming in. Well, guess what? That's how you get scurvy. You guys have heard of scurvy, right? The pirates out in the Caribbean would get it. It's because they had no vitamin C. What was the cure for scurvy? It was eating an orange. Well, if eating an orange quite literally cures scurvy, doesn't that tell you on some level that this should be part of your regular diet? And another thing, vegans don't think you're off the hook. If you don't have any B12 cobalamin in your diet, your body cannot produce new red blood cells. What has B12 cobalamin? Meat. Chicken, fish, beef, no, I don't want to say pick your poison because it's not poison. It's the opposite of poison. Choose your weapon, right? Whatever that you like the most, you have, that's going to have the B12 in it. That's cobalamin. You're not getting cobalamin from a vegan diet. And I don't want to hear about the special mushrooms that you can get out in the woods. If 99% of the human population doesn't have access to this one mushroom that has B12 in it, don't you think there might be something wrong with the vegan diet too? These cult mentalities or these cult diets, I think, are really driving people down the wrong roads. It gets people into a lot of binge eating disorders. It gets people that have a lot of food scarcity mindsets. And the worst of all, it has people greatly affecting their social lives. People that are on these very strict diets, they become almost antisocial in a way that they no longer want to be around other people unless they also adhere to the same diet. I think that's a recipe for disaster. You should be able to find some way to have balance, not in like your diet, but in your own way of living so that it doesn't affect your ability to go out and socialize with people. It doesn't make you feel like you have to partition off into food factions. What I want to do here on this channel is help people out, find different ways that you can maintain a diet, live a healthy lifestyle, and still do all the things that you enjoy doing. Just some quick examples of this to show you guys what I'm talking about. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I've been sober for about 5 or 6 months now. I haven't really been keeping track. But if I go out for, like a UFC fight on a Saturday night, for example, instead of drinking alcohol, I'll usually have a non-alcoholic beer like a Heineken Zero. I might go with sparkling water like a San Pellegrino. If I need a little bit of caffeine, you get that sugar-free Red Bull. All of this keeps me social and active at night without having to actually drink alcohol. Same thing goes for diet. Whenever I go on vacation with people or if I'm doing things, it's not like, oh man, I'm on the keto diet, I can't eat breakfast with these guys, or I'm fasting, I can't participate in breakfast. I'm able to incorporate my principles into my own diet, even when I'm with people, so that I'm never too far away from a social activity, but I'm still able to maintain the diet. An example of this would be choosing to have the eggs over the toast, or choosing to have breakfast sausage over the cereal. When you go out for breakfast, there's usually options. Knowing which ones to pick, it goes a long way. To me, the ideal diet is one where a majority of your food comes from meat, but then you also supplement that with carbohydrate-rich foods like potatoes, strawberries, watermelon, etc. Personally, I'm not a big bread eater. I do try to avoid bread. I do try to avoid pasta. But pretty much everything else is fair game. Even rice can sometimes be on the menu, and that's mostly because rice still has to be prepared. The big thing that really gets people is when it's very easy to just keep going back for more. It's always easy to have another slice of bread. It's easy to grab another bagel or grab another donut. And it's certainly easy to grab more snacks. If you can eliminate those things, you're good to go. Instead of having chips, have strawberries. Instead of having a cheeseburger, have a steak. If you can't afford the steak, have the burger with no bun. You don't have to be strict keto all the time, but I do think getting the bread out of the diet, it's a good idea. But nonetheless, don't let your diet become a cult-like personality. Don't let people tell you that you have to be 100% on something or it's a complete waste. And don't be sitting on there with your calendar out tracking when was the last time you had a cheat. All of these things are just putting you on the wrong path. You're going to be living a long time, hopefully. Make sure you've got something that's going to work for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. It's going to make you miserable. Well, anyways, guys, I think we're going to leave it there. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We've got new content coming out all the time. This week and next week, I'm on vacation. After that, I'll be back to my regular posting schedule with my regular style content. Hope you guys enjoyed this river back here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.